The hallway was more ornate than the others. Where most tunnels in Colony 7 were simple earthen passages, decorated with the basic patterns of the faithful, the walls of this tunnel were completely covered with wooden panels. As the wood did not reduce the overall diameter of the tunnel, Alicia guessed that the initial excavation must have removed more earth than was typical. Wood holds details much better than clay, she thought as she ran her arms over the depiction on the wall, careful not to allow her claws to scratch the wood. Everything on the artwork seemed to point to its focal point, the Queen Mother. She's so much bigger than the rest of us. Stepping back, she took in the entirety of the mural. It depicted the Queen Mother and the founding of her colony. Eggs were piled in tidy shells dug into the dirt walls around her. A few sisters were already born and tended to their siblings, still encased in their eggs. While the sisters worked, Mother greeted her newly hatched daughter with an embrace. Alicia found herself misty-eyed. Whoever did this carving captured a look in Mother's eyes. The love there matched the way she held her daughter close. Alicia wished she could experience that embrace again. It had been so long since she last saw Mother. Too long. But that was how every daughter felt. Alicia sighed. Her sigh echoed in the hallway. It was odd to make noise. Still, it was not as bad as having to form words. Sighing was much more natural than something like scub. The echo on the wooden floors and walls sounded different compared to those on the clay where she had spent nearly her entire life. Except for when she was born, of course. Does Mother have a wooden chamber? Alicia thought. She shifted her weight to her other side. Standing got tedious even for Alicia. I will just have to find out. In front of Alicia stood a wooden door shut tight with another depiction of the Queen Mother. 4 incense sticks extended out of the door, each one orange at the tip where it was burning. While they were not pheromones, incense did well at communicating symbols through scent, as rudimentary as it was. Alicia learned early in her life, just a few weeks ago, the meaning of each smell. The top left incense stick gave off a nuttiness, which meant honor. The one below it, blue with orange smoke, gave off the smell of sweet nectar, which meant faithfulness. The top right incense was gray, and only distinguishable like the first by its unique smell. Oak. Sacrifice, Alicia thought as she smelled the oak. The last incense stick had green smoke from a yellow stick. The smell was bright and floral, similar to the one with nectar, but much sweeter, with a tang of flower petal to it. The sweet honey smell sang of rebirth. The door opened. Alicia jumped at the sudden motion in an otherwise motionless hallway. She had been standing there for some time now, maybe a chime or two. The fact that the door's movement startled her was silly, but it happened. The door opened inward and swung wide enough to move both door and incense completely out of the entryway, leaving behind it a plume of blue, green, and gray smoke. Enter, a commanding sister said to Alicia in sweet yet silent Pharaoh. The sister stood in a beautiful robe with intricate patterned hexagons and small triangles arranged within them, a pattern frequently used to decorate the tunnel walls. Like the oaky incense, this hexagon and triangle pattern meant sacrifice. It was the typical pattern of the higher class of ants, called the Close Sisters, and found on all their clothing. Alicia felt her heart beat faster, and she straightened her back to stand tall and clasped her 4 claws together, 2 in front and 2 behind. She was with the Close Sister. Why did they call me here? She thought. Alicia entered, passing through the pungent smells of the incense that had once barred her way. The room was large for the colony, but then this was the Close Sister's chamber, and extravagance was rightly applied to those daughters frequently in contact with Mother. The domed room was filled with ornate wooden shelves all around, and even the dark wooden floor was embellished with flowers, berries, and other foods Alicia knew from her time as a forager. On the shelves were diamond-shaped discs with buttons and settings one could adjust. Alicia eyed the pheromoniums with delight. Could they really hold her voice? She could not help herself from smiling. It was difficult to smile with such a hard face, but it felt right. Come, little sister, a pheromone smell said to Alicia. She looked forward, away from the many shelves, to see the owner of the pharaoh words. The close sister sat at the desk on the far side of the room. Her smell was so familiar, it made Alicia shiver. It was nearly the right voice, the right smell, but not quite. It lacked a certain feeling. Alicia briskly walked to the desk. The pheromones spoken by the close sister still hung thick in the air, beckoning Alicia. Alicia gave a smile to hide her nervousness. Or was it excitement? The close sister stood and returned the smile. Her robes were riddled with circles divided by a horizontal line that extended slightly beyond the circle on either side. The silken white fabric was thin, and Alicia could see the ridges of the close sister's thorax and abdomen boldly displayed by the tight fabric. Alicia felt hidden under her thick blue robe with simple hexagons on it. Even if it was a robe of honor, she could not help but wonder how the close sister's robe might look on her. Welcome, the close sister said in Pharaoh. She sat at her desk while Alicia stood. There was no chair for guests. Visitors must not stay long enough to warrant one. The close sister waved a claw to her attendant, the one who opened the door for Alicia, and the attendant scuttled off towards the shelves on the wall and selected a pheromonium. Her white robe sported 4 wide sleeves that cut off halfway down the arm. This kept the fabric from getting dirty from tasks and from getting caught on the claws. Walking back to the desk with the pheromonium, the attendant sat it on the desk and returned to her post by the door. The close sister adjusted the pheromonium to be closer to Alicia. She then set a second pheromonium on the first. Nodding to Alicia, both she and the close sister leaned over the 2 stacked discs while the close sister pressed down on both, activating the sender buttons. A divine smell filled the room. Pharaoh was not like other languages of the beetle or insect. It was not spoken one word at a time, but all at once in an eruption of unique smells and sensations. The most beautiful of all were the ones Alicia experienced now. My dearest daughter Alexandra, the pharaoh from the Queen Mother hung on Alicia's antennae. Alicia held back tears. It is my wish that the rooms closest to my chamber be guarded by the most faithful of daughters who will also be the most capable. I work steadily on the journey to new life and must be guarded. I leave it to your charge to select only the most capable and faithful of your sisters to take this duty and protect my chambers. Only send them away in the most dire of circumstances. They will not serve in the fight against the earthling. They will not take up any craft except the craft of defense. They are the last defense to my dearest daughters who have yet to enter this world. Choose wisely. The message was over. The close sister, Alexandra, the one on top, had captured the message of the one below, and now could further deliver it at a later time. The old pheromonium was placed under the large desk, and the one from on top back on the shelf in the place of its predecessor. I do not believe, Alexandra said, it is unclear what we wish you to do. Little sister, we have seen you working in the foraging ranks, and the effort is unmistakable. Not all daughters are reborn equally. You are valiant to serve your Queen Mother. You wear your robes well. At this time, it is necessary to fortify the Queen's Guard due to the war. We have been watching for a daughter who is valiant, and have chosen you to fulfill the role as a member of the Queen's Guard. Alicia found herself speechless. She would be a member of the Queen's Guard. Will I see the Queen? Maybe get to talk with her? Alicia thought. Alicia, the close sister said, but this time out loud with her voice. It was odd to hear a voice at all, let alone hear the close sister, who evidently knew Alicia's name, speak her name. Alicia shook her head and straightened her antennae. She swallowed, forming the words in her mouth. They were somewhat awkward, but she knew how to do it. In Scub, at least. Yes, close sister, she said out loud. Pay special attention to the instructions and actions of your sister guards, the close sister said. They are important. Do you understand? Yes, Alicia said, her voice vibrating. If you wish, she added in Pharaoh, her preferred language. The close sister shared a knowing smile with her attendant. Then let us renew your oath. Alicia was grateful that the close sister was now speaking again in Pharaoh, especially since the oath, which Alicia knew by heart, in Pharaoh, was sacred. She felt that the oath communicated more than just a dedication. It carried a passion. Was passion even something that a spoken language like Scub could convey? Alicia wondered. Likely not. The close sister stood. Alicia rounded the desk and approached the close sister, clasping their 4 claws with each other. Now, with claws, foreheads, and antennae intertwined, they renewed their oath. I am born of my Queen Mother. I provide for my Queen Mother. I protect my Queen Mother. And I die for my Queen Mother. Again she will embrace me in her arms as she births me life anew. No, there was no way to convey that in anything but Pharaoh. I will die for you, Alicia thought again. She knew her mother could birth life anew. She knew it would be so. So what was the sting of death to her then? No sting at all. Just forgetfulness. That was a small price to pay for immortality. Very good, the close sister said. I can tell you mean it. She clasped her claws. The attendant approached Alicia with a new robe. Alicia followed the command to remove her current one. Accepting the new robe, Alicia whipped it in the air so it fell easily on her shoulder and her 2 left arms emerged without snagging anything. It was the same cut as her last robe, but not as thick and made of silk rather than coarse grass. The new robe reflected that pattern of the attendants, hexagonal shapes with smaller triangles within them. Alicia beamed and spun around. Mayval will tell you of your next steps. She will be your contact in my absence, in case you need to tell us anything. Thank you, Alicia said. She briskly walked to Mayval with many excited short steps. This way, Mayval said. The Queen's Guard are expecting you.